You've been very patient. I appreciate your being here today. We wanted your CEOs to be here, as you know, but I'm glad we had you here today and that we had this hearing. I hope that you will take back to your CEOs, I think, the message that is pretty clear here, which is there's a bipartisan demand for changes in the way you do business on these junk fees. You don't like to call them junk fees, but that's what they are. And I think the bipartisan tenor of today's hearing speaks very loudly to this point. I just want to close with a couple of questions on what we've referred to generally as algorithms or artificial intelligence, which again is a trend in the industry, which I think poses some dangers, notwithstanding your reassurances, Mr. Klein. I want to ask Mr. Carter, 2 weeks ago during Delta's Investor Day, the president of Delta Airlines gave a presentation about how the airline was planning to use AI to set, and I'm quoting, granular pricing, end quote, that was, quote, responsive to customer signals, end quote. The end result of AI-powered targeted pricing is that customers may soon confront a world where every person is charged a different price for every product every time they look at an airline's website. This optimization may work to Delta's benefit, but I can't imagine that most travelers would welcome it. It would be confusing, conflicting, inconsistent, and potentially anti-competitive. Is it fair if two customers searching for the same flight at exactly the same time are charged different prices?
Senator, let me tell you that I was at Investor Day and recall the comment, and our use of AI is incredibly small. We are just trying to understand AI's application. As you know, AI is talked about every day, everywhere, all the time, and we thought it was incumbent upon us to at least try and test. And I would say it's a lab. It's very isolated. It's a tiny percentage. It's 1%.
Well, it's tiny right now as we sit here at about noon on December 4th. It's tiny, but it could explode over the next 6 months. And I think that the question to you is whether it is fair for two customers going to your website at exactly the same time for the same flight, being charged different prices based on their zip code, their gender, their other characteristics.
Senator, I think you're making an assumption about what AI would be used for, when I can tell you that that's certainly not the conclusion that we have come to date. I think the way, again, these are the earliest stages, and this is just early learnings. We have so much to learn about AI. We all do, I think, as a country. But it's more about the right offer at the right time, as opposed to
well, I'm asking you the question about exactly the same time, and it may be an unfair question to Delta only because you're exceptional in not asking for that information before someone decides to buy a ticket from you. But I'm asking you the question, which I think is not just a hypothetical, it's very real, because that's the direction that the airlines are going, using AI to charge different fees and different fares depending on the personal information they get from you before you even decide to buy that ticket.
I would say to you, Senator, because of our commitment to our customers and our desire to be the airline of choice by our customers and the desire to have loyalty from our customers, I can't conceive of, we all don't know how AI will be used, but I can't conceive of Delta using AI the way you've described. But I have to emphasize, we're just learning. We don't really know what we don't even know about AI today.
Well, that's the frightening part of the direction that the airlines are going. Truly, the terrifying part from a consumer standpoint.
I can assure you that our focus is efficiency, and I can assure you that to the extent Delta uses AI, it's in a responsible manner, Senator.
Let me ask you, Mr. Johnson, during American's earnings call last month, American's CEO said that the airline will soon, quote, put an AI lens to everything we do. Everything we do, an AI lens. Now, as we know, in its worst form, AI could be used to determine which passengers are traveling for weddings, funerals, family emergencies. They have no choice but to take your airline, and they'll pay anything to be on that flight. Airlines could use these tools to exploit passengers' worst moments, or best, to pad their profits. Can you commit that American will never use AI to exploit passengers who are traveling for a family emergency or even a funeral? You will commit to it. Can you commit to never using this personal information to set different fares or fees for different passengers at the same time for the same flight?
Senator, it's fascinating that you bring this up because it's such an important topic. It's pretty easy to immediately think about the issues with AI, the things that can go wrong, the things that won't be consumer friendly. But AI is potentially a fabulous computational and automation tool that can be used in many, many really extraordinary ways. For instance, our dabbling with AI in the early stages is focused on trying to run our operation better. We operate 6,000 flights using 1,700 aircraft, 365 days of the year. It's a really, really complicated exercise and very automated. AI, offers the opportunity for us to do that much better and in a way that's much better for our customers, particularly in terms of regular operations.
I am going to just say, with all due respect, you're not answering the question. I know you don't really have the authority, and maybe none of us has the knowledge right now to answer this question. But the fact that I'm assuming none of you can answer this question, I invite others to say that your airlines will never use AI to charge different fees or fares to people at the same time for the same flight. Any of you want to commit? None of you. Is truly one reason that we need to continue the kind of oversight that we're seeing here today, because AI opens the potential for practices that may be deeply unfair in resulting in discrimination based on these factors that you now collect information on routinely. And I know, Mr. Klein, you may be dubious about the use of algorithms for this purpose. Algorithms can be defined in a lot of different ways. AI has been used for 10 years in various settings, and we're just discovering the vast potential for using it. But the setting of fees and fares by airlines, again, as a potential paradigm for other industries, is deeply disconcerting when AI becomes a factor in the use of personal information, gender, age, residence, and so forth. So I'm going to conclude this hearing. I want to thank you again for being here. I don't need to repeat the messages that are contained in our report, and I think were pretty dramatically and graphically restated here today. But I just don't think it can be business as usual for the airlines if you want to retain customer trust and credibility. Thank you for being here. With that, this hearing is adjourned. We'll keep the record open for 2 weeks in the event that any of you want to supplement your answers or any of my colleagues want to ask additional questions for the record. Thank you so much. Hearing's adjourned.